This year, Lucknow has been designated as UNESCO's Creative City Network in the field of gastronomy. Khalid El Nani is the first Arab and second from an African country to be chosen as the Director General of UNESCO. Aims to make cities safe, resilient, inclusive and sustainable to live. As we have already mentioned that it is a very important topic from prelims point of view. So Lucknow has a very rich legacy and it has been included in the UNESCO's Creative City Network in the category of gastronomy. What all GI tags do we see being ascribed to Lucknow as a city? So one is chicken curry, which has a GI tag from Lucknow. Second is zardozi. Both are kind of embroidery patterns. Some cities are built by history, some cities create history, and Lucknow has done exactly that. This year, Lucknow has been designated as UNESCO's Creative City Network in the field of gastronomy. So hello everyone. Today I am welcoming you all in the weekly MCR session on a very important topic from prelims point of view, and that is UNESCO's Creative City Network, right? So we will understand in this session what all facts do we need to prepare in this topic alongside the historical legacy of Lucknow. So there was this session, a conference that happened at Samarkand, Uzbekistan, which is the 43rd UNESCO General Conference. Now Samarkand itself is a UNESCO's World Heritage Site. In this conference, from 30th October to 13th November, very important key decisions were taken. First, a new Director General to UNESCO was appointed. He's Khalid El Nani. He is the 12th Director General to UNESCO and has succeeded Audrey Azoulay. Now, Khalid El Nani is the first Arab and second from an African country to be chosen as the Director General of UNESCO. Apart from this, every year, World Cities Day is celebrated on 31st October. On this very day, there was this declaration done by UNESCO, which has designated 58 new cities in the UNESCO's Creative City Network. In this declaration only, Indian city of Lucknow was included in this network in the field of gastronomy. Another important decision that was taken in this general conference was, now a new field has been created in this UNESCO's Creative City Network, and that is architecture. So this has made this topic very, very important from prelims point of view, right? Now with this, the global reach of UNESCO's Creative City Network has now increased to 100 plus countries. It has total of 408 cities till date as part of UCCCN. There are now 58 new members that were added this year. And now from 7 to 8 new creative fields or 8 fields are present in UCCCN, right? Now let's see what is the objective of UCCCN and when was it formed. So UCCCN was created in 2004. What is its objective? It basically places creativity and creative economy at the heart of urban development. It aims to make cities safe, resilient, inclusive and sustainable to live in order to comply with UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, right? So basically, the main aim is to make cities or creative field as an engine for growth and sustainable development, right? Now, what all fields are part of UCCCN network? As we have discussed, architecture has found a new place and status in the UCCCN network. Now, the cities will also be recognizing architectural heritage and innovation as one of the fields to make cities more habitable, prosperous, livable, resilient, in line with 2030 UN Sustainable Development Program. Apart from this, the creative field of crafts and folk arts are also recognized in the cities world over. You have film as another category, which gives credence to the film excellence or cinematic excellence and film industry, the contribution it plays. It also gives importance to design as a field of creativity. It also gives importance to gastronomy or the cuisines or the the delicacies which each city has or the cities are famous for. It also gives recognition to literature or the contribution of literature done by the cities or the legacy they have. It also gives importance to music as a creative field. It also, in the last, gives importance to the media art, which the cities or probably few cities are well known for. For example, it's digital creativity and technological innovation. So these are the 8 creative fields that are presently part of UCCN, with architecture being the recent addition in the creative fields. So from 7, now there are 8 creative fields in this network, right? Now, because we've just got to know that it was created in 2004, but recognizing Indian cities did not start from 2004 itself. Since 2015 onwards, Indian cities were recognized in different categories and were designated in the UCCN network, right? So let's see India's journey in the UNESCO's Creative City Network starting from 2015 to 2025. So in 2015, for the first time, Jaipur and Varanasi were included in the UNESCO Creative City Network. Jaipur was recognized as the city of crafts and folk art, while Varanasi was recognized in the field of music. As you all know, Banaras is a very important musical gharana as well. In 2017, again, Chennai was included in the Creative City Network in the same category of music, which celebrates or gave importance to the Carnatic music tradition which Chennai has. In 2019, Mumbai joined as a city of film, Hyderabad as India's first city of gastronomy. So please remember, if in UPSC prelims, there is a statement that Lucknow for the first time has been designated as a city in the UCCN network in the field of gastronomy, it would be incorrect because that title is already enjoyed by Hyderabad. So that means we have now 2 cities which are recognized for gastronomy, right? In 2021, Srinagar was included in the network in the creative field of craft and folk art. In 2023, again Gwalior was included in music creative field. Kozhikode became India's first city of literature, right? And recently, 2025, Lucknow has been included in the UCCN network in the field of gastronomy. So let's understand how in prelims questions could be framed and which all categories have been emphasized and in which category no Indian city has been placed yet, right? So when we talk about music, 3 cities of India have been included in the UCCN network. And which are they? First is Varanasi, Chennai, Gwalior in music field. That means if any creative field which has recognized Indian cities maximum, it is this field, right? Then comes, there are 2 cities which have been recognized for their contribution in craft and folk art. First is Jaipur, being the first city in this category, and then Srinagar. right? In gastronomy also, there have been 2 cities which have been recognized. First, Hyderabad, and second, recently in 2025, Lucknow. In film creative field, Mumbai has been recognized, and it is the first city to be recognized in this field till date. And in literature, Kozhikode. So that means not every city in India has been placed in all the 8 fields as of now. There are only 5 fields in which Indian cities have been categorized or included or have found a place in UCCN network. So which are the fields where Indian cities are yet to be recognized and included? One is design, second is media art, and third being architecture. And don't forget that we already have UNESCO's World Heritage Site status also dedicated to architectural legacy, right? So this is what you have to understand from prelims point of view. Right? Now let's understand what all advantages or benefits any city gets when it gets included in the UCCN network. As we have understood the objective of UCCN, it becomes important where we are recognizing the contribution and benefits if any city gets its place in UCCN network. First, it elevates the city's global profile and cultural tourism appeal. So that means it recognizes cities internationally. Next, it also, helps other cities to have that knowledge exchange. They could come to know the world's best practices adopted by different cities to make or resolve or solve urbanization challenges. Third, culture and creativity are also considered as engines of growth, right? So if cities get included in the UCCN network, economic development, job creation also happens in those cities. Next, it helps the cities and the governments to preserve the cultural legacy with which the cities are associated, right? And lastly, it helps the governments nationally and globally to commit to integrate culture into urban development, right? So these are the benefits or advantages a city gets when it gets included in the UCCN network, right? So that means it helps the cities for human-centered urban living to be adopted as a core of UCCN principle. That means the basic heart and essence of UCCN is to ensure that there is cultural participation happening at cities at different level. There is this social inclusion that is being, achieved through this inclusion of cities, international cooperation that can be promoted, sustainable development that can be achieved, creative innovation can be enhanced, and the heritage could be preserved. The legacy could be preserved. So these are some of the principles which through UCCN inclusion of cities world over is trying to achieve. Again, they are trying to achieve this to make cities more livable, resilient, in line with UN's 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, right? So there are 3 things which you can, use while writing answers in mains also. If any question comes from urban development or the future of urban, what steps the global governments are taking to resolve or, solve the challenges posed due to accelerating urbanization. So one example could be given in the field of Creative City Network, that how Creative City Network helps in expanding network, right, of underrepresented regions which are culturally rich but not represented. Once we recognize those regions, how through technology cultural accessibility could be enhanced, and how the different cultural approaches to could be linked or integrated to environmental sustainability challenges. So in essence, what you have to understand by this is that as urbanization is accelerating globally, we have to understand that culture and creativity should not be considered as luxuries. They are very important part or, engines for growth. And how? Because they make cities more resilient, livable, and prosperous. So when any city gets included in UCCN network, it enshrines that culture and creativity are very, very important and can go hand in hand, which can help us to resolve our urbanization challenges, right? So now let's understand and talk about what and in what all legacy or heritage we now have to prepare Lucknow, right? So Lucknow has a very rich legacy, and it has been included in the UNESCO's Creative City Network in the category of gastronomy. The delicacies it is famous for example, galoti kebab, tunde kebab, Lucknowi biryani, the slow cooking method that has given, a stature to Lucknow, which has made it globally recognized, right? So you have this Avdi culinary tradition, right? You have very famous dishes, right? So that would again add to the cultural tourism appeal which Lucknow has, apart from other architectural legacy or historical legacy, right? Now let's understand how Lucknow is to be visualized or understood with the legacy it has. As we have already mentioned that it is a very important topic from prelims point of view. So the journey of Lucknow from ancient to modern times is what we will understand, right? So since ancient times, it has its own legacy. It was part of, which Mahajanpad is what you need to know. But before that, let's understand what do you mean by Lucknow. So Lucknow is the anglicized name of Lucknow, and according to a legend, the city was named after Lakshman, which was part of Ramayana, right? And Lakshman or Lakhanpur is what again this settlement was also known in the 11th century, right? Now, before we venture into medieval India, let's understand that in ancient time period, where or in which dynasty or empire or time period we have to ascribe Lucknow to. So Lucknow was part of Kaushal Mahajanpad. Now this Mahajanpad age, which began from 600 to 300 BC, is also known for the phase of second urbanization. So here we started to see towns, we started to see cities, right, for the very first time in the ancient time period. Before that, Harappan civilization was considered as the first stage of urbanization. After Harappan civilization, this phase, the rise of Mahajanpads, is regarded as the second phase of urbanization. And there is this Kaushal Mahajanpad where Awadh or Lucknow could be located, right? So this is with respect to the significance or region with which we have to associate. Now coming to medieval Indian time period. So Awadh or Kaushal or Lucknow, that region, was ruled in medieval times by Delhi Sultanate, independently also, and then Mughals, and then finally how the Britishers were controlling this region. That is what we have to understand very briefly, right? So 1350 onwards, when Delhi Sultanate begins its rule, Lucknow became part of their territory, right? After that, in 1394, Sharqi Sultanate was founded by Khwaja-i-Jahan Malik Sarwar, specifically after the disintegration of Tughlaq dynasty, right? And that's how this Sharqi Sultanate now started to have control over Jaunpur region, which includes present-day Lucknow as well, right? After that, Awadh becomes a Mughal province, right? So this is how you have to trace the history of, Lucknow, Awadh, Jaunpur area, which was ruled by, different medieval dynasty rulers, right? Now, as we got to know that in Mughal times, it became a very important province. So these provinces were known as Suba. So Awadh was a Suba or under Mughal Empire, right? And then finally, after the Mughal Empire got disintegrated or weakened, specifically after the death of Aurangzeb. So Aurangzeb died in 1707, and after his death, Mughal Empire disintegrated. We saw rise of regional states. We saw rise of successor states. And because Awadh was one of the Mughal province earlier, the Nawab declared his independence in this region, right? So now Awadh would start seeing an independent rule of Nawabs. So what is this Nawab or Nawabi culture? So Nawab was a title given to Muslim independent rulers, right? So from henceforth, how the Nawab of Awadh or Nawabs of Awadh will have an antagonistic relationship with Britishers is what we have to understand, right? So basically, what you have to know is that the Nawabi culture or the Nawab of Awadh declared its independence in 1722, right? So Sadat Khan, popularly known as Buranul Mulk, declared his independence for the first time under Mughal Empire, right? And he established his court in Faizabad, which is near Lucknow, right? And from now comes a very important battle which was fought, in which the Nawab of Awadh would also take part. That will take place in 1764, and that is Battle of Buxar, right? So at the time of Battle of Buxar, that is 1764, where is Buxar? Buxar is in Bihar, right? So the Nawab of Awadh was Shujauddaulah. So what is the significance of this battle, which involved Awadh in it? Ultimately, the Britishers defeated the combined army of Nawab of Awadh, led by Mir Qasim, and Mughal Emperor's army. And the Britishers then forced them to sign Treaty of Allahabad in 1765, which again changed the history of India at the hands of the Britishers. Why? Because after Treaty of Allahabad, in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, dual system of administration was started. And now EIC became an administrative power for the very first time in that region, right? So because of Awadh's involvement in this Battle of Buxar and how it changed the history of India is what you have to understand. So here that means the role of Awadh becomes critical, right? So as part of Treaty of Allahabad, Awadh had to give away or cede Allahabad and Kara to the Mughal emperor, right? Allahabad and Kara. It also had to pay a war price to the British or EIC officials, right? So this is what you have to know about Treaty of Allahabad and Battle of Buxar, in which Lucknow got involved, right? Now, in which year Lucknow became the capital of that region? So in 1775, when Asaf-ud-Daulah became the Nawab, from 1775 to 1797, the capital of Awadh shifted from Faizabad to Lucknow for the very first time, and this led to the cultural revival in Lucknow, because during the Nawabship of Asaf-ud-Daulah, there were very important architectural marvels that were built by him in Lucknow. One was Bada Imam Bara and the other one was Rumi Darwaza. Both of them have been asked by UPSC in prelims. So this was what UPSC had asked in 2018. Red sandstone and marble were used in making Bada Imam Bara and Rumi Darwaza at Lucknow. So that means the cultural and the architectural legacy which Lucknow has already been asked by UPSC in prelims, right? So that is making this topic even more important, right? Now let's understand when the Britishers became the administrative power, how this region came under the control of the Britishers and through what stages and in which form. Now, after Battle of Buxar, as I told you, EIC started to become or behave administrate, or it became an administrative power, right? So when it became administrative power, it started to exert control over Indian territories through two means. One was by fighting direct wars and battles with other Indian territories like Anglo-Mysore War, Anglo-Maratha Wars, etc. And the other way through which it exerted its control and influence was through diplomatic policies. And one such treaty that was signed by EIC with Awadh was Subsidiary Alliance Treaty in 1801, which was signed between Nawab of Awadh, at that point of time Saadat Ali Khan II, and East India Company, which made Awadh a protectorate of the Britishers. Now, as part of subsidiary alliance, whoever accepted this treaty made that region come under the influence of EIC. Why? Because that Nawab has to now maintain British army in his capital, right? And in return, he would be offered protection against internal and external invasions, right? So in 1801, as part of subsidiary alliance, Awadh became a protectorate under British EIC, right? So this made the independence of Awadh go from the hands of Nawab to EIC, right? Next important development or event was 1856, when Awadh came under the British rule or EIC's direct rule, because it was annexed under the ground of misgovernance or maladministration. Now what is happening is, around 1856, when Lord Dalhousie was the Governor General, he started to implement doctrine of lapse. What was doctrine of lapse? Lapse means ending of rule. That means the princely state ruler or the king is unable to rule. Why he was unable to rule? He was unable to rule because he was not having a natural male heir. But in case of Awadh, the ground that was imposed for its annexation was that the Nawab or the ruler is unable to govern its own region. That is misgovernance. So at that point of time, Wajid Ali Shah, the then Nawab, was imprisoned and exiled by the EIC to Calcutta in 1856. And that led to one of the very important reasons for 1857 mutiny to happen was Lucknow or Awadh being taken under the EIC in the pretext of misgovernance, right? So then his wife, which was Begum Hazrat Mahal, appointed his son Bijris Qadir as the Nawab, right? And then this mutiny happened, and you all know what happened after the mutiny. British Crown rule was established in India formally, right? So this is how you have to understand the journey of Awadh or Lucknow. During this 1857 mutiny, again another 2 points which you need to remember from prelims point of view. Who were the officers who fought or took control of Lucknow or Awadh from the hands of the Nawab's family? So English officers Henry Havelock and Sir James Outram led the initial forces, but more strongly Awadh could be taken back from the Nawabs was under the forces led by Sir Colin Campbell, right? So after 1857, Awadh became part of British governance under a chief commissioner, right? And then again, further reorganization of Awadh happened. Finally, in 1902, the title of Chief Commissioner was dropped and Awadh became part of United Provinces of Agra and Awadh independently, right? So provinces of Agra and Awadh became United Provinces of Agra and Awadh under British rule, right? Another development which happened at Lucknow was the signing of historical Congress pact, which joined the moderates and extremists together, was the Lucknow Congress session of 1916. It was presided by A.C. Majumdar, who commented that if the Congress was buried at Surat, it was reborn in Lucknow in the gardens of Wajid Ali Shah. So this Lucknow session of Congress 1916 basically marks the unity and friendship of moderates and extremists back again, which saw a division in the Surat session of 1907, right? Even in fact, during 1919s, 1920s, when Khilafat and non-cooperation movement atmosphere was going on, Lucknow was a very important region, right? In 1920, Lucknow becomes the city's capital. So basically now the capital changed from Allahabad to Lucknow, right? So this is again very important because now till date Lucknow is the capital of Uttar Pradesh, right? Another major event that happened in the city of Lucknow was Kakori trial sentence. It happened at a ring theatre in Lucknow, which again adds to the historical legacy and value which Lucknow holds, during the British times, right? Now, with respect to culture, what all GI tags do we see being ascribed to Lucknow as a city? So one is chicken curry, which has a GI tag from Lucknow. Second is Zardozi. Both are kind of embroidery patterns. In Zardozi, there is embroidery done by using gold and silver thread. It is also said that, Noor Jahan, the wife of Jahangir, is credited to bring chicken curry form of embroidery, right? So this is with respect to, the legacy, the historical cultural legacy, as well as the, British history with which we associate Lucknow with, right? So in the end, what I would like to tell you is that, as part of UNESCO's Creative City Network, the heart of city, that is culture, is seen as a very important tool to integrate cities on the global map. Not only in terms of cultural preservation, but how culture and economy, culture and society, culture and history can become engines of growth and help in addressing the urbanization problems. So thank you all. Have a good day. I hope the session was a good one with respect to giving you information about how you can use the facts which are shared in this discussion in prelims and even in mains point of view.